Hey guys, this is Alex again. I'm going to an apartment. The tenant says that there's no cool. The air is not cold, and they shut the system off. So we're gonna see what's going on. There's another air conditioner that we are gonna look at. It is that guy. When I asked the tenant to turn the AC on, I could hear the compressor on but not the fan. So it might be just the capacitor, so we're gonna take a look at it. I asked the tenant to kill it at the breaker because my disconnect box is not working, and we're not gonna replace it just now. Okay, so we're gonna check since the compressor worked and not the fan. The first thing we're gonna do is gonna check the capacitor. It looks kind of old, so hopefully it's an easy fix. Okay, so this is what we have in the herm. We have the yellow wire that goes to the compressor right here, and then the brown in the fan, in the condenser fan, and then the common, it just goes the blue and the orange. So if you are new at this, I would suggest that you mark it like here, put a Y for yellow, blue, a B for blue, O for orange. Just mark it so whenever you put your new one, you put it in the right side. So we have here the capacitor, and let me just start by saying what a capacitor is. The capacitor is a device that helps the compressor and the condenser fan to start. This device stores energy inside, so it's ready for whenever you turn the compressor and the fan on. Energy travels from this capacitor to the motors of the compressor and the fan, so they can easily start. That's why when these guys are depleted or they read less than what they're supposed to, the compressor or the fan don't work. This is the capacitor we took from that condensing unit. I couldn't test it right there because I had my meter, my multimeter, but I didn't have one of the leads. I left it in my truck. I couldn't find it. So that's why I'm doing it right now. So let's start by identifying the terminals. We have C for common, and we have H for hermetic for the compressor, and then we have F for fan. I marked them because it's very old and I could not see. I'm kind of blind. So this is to help me, and hopefully if you are blind like me, that would help you. And now, can you see them? No, it's hard. It's kind of hard to see. Let's start by shorting them out. So you're going to use a screwdriver with a handle protected. You know, there's a rubber handle on, and then you're going to cross each terminal to each other, and that's going to discharge the capacitor. Some capacitors store some energy, so just for your safety, be careful. Put them like that across all the terminals, and that should discharge the capacitor. This capacitor, the unit, is calling for a 35.5. 35 for the compressor and 35 for the fan. It has 20 for the compressor, and it has 5 for the fan. I don't know if you could see, but I'm gonna write it out here just for myself. 20 for the compressor and 5 for the fan. So just that alone, this is wrong. and that's why I decided to replace it. If you see on this one, is 35 and 5 as it's supposed to be. If you are a beginner, I would suggest you that you mark them, the colors of the wires when you remove them, so you always know. So on this one, the hermetic is the yellow wire, so we're gonna put a Y, and then on my fan, it's the brown wire, so we're gonna put brown. And on the common is the other two wires, is the blue and the orange. And please pardon me because I make my videos in Spanish. Um, we have the Spanish and the English words. So, if you're a professional, you know which wire goes where, because you've done it so much, But if you are a beginner, that's what I did. I marked them so, when it's time to put them back, I know where they go. So now, what we're going to do, let's bring the new capacitor and we're going to start doing the test. We're going to use our multimeter in microfarads. That's the unit of measure for capacitors, MFD, microfarad. And what we're going to do is we have hermetic, it says here Herm for compressor, and then we have the C for common, and here we have fan. Can you see the C? That's the C. So we have H, C, and fan. So we're gonna mark them just so it's easier because the print is so small it's hard to see. So one more time, we have C for common, we have F for fan, and H for hermetic compressor. And I'm gonna mark here the colors. That's the yellow from the compressor, and then we have the brown. Oh, for the fan we have the brown, and then on the common we have the other two, which is the orange and the blue. So this capacitor is the new one is 35.5. 5% more or 5% less is acceptable. So 35, so 5% of 35 is 1.75. That means that we accept 33.25 or more. So now let's see what we have. Let's put one of our leads on C for common, and the other tip we're gonna put it on Herm for compressor, and we're gonna get 3512. That means that the side for the compressor is in good shape. So now let's do the 5 for the fan. So it's 5%. 5% of 25 is 0.25. That means we accept 475 for this capacitor. If it's less than 475, it's not good. So one lead on common and the other one on F, and it's 477. It's only 0.2 shy of being bad. But today, this capacitor is good for 2 points, 2 decimals. So this is the old capacitor. So this is a 12 and a 5. So I'm sorry, a 20 and a 5. So let's see what it has. I'm putting as one on C and one in Herm, and it's not giving me anything. That's why just by looking at the capacitor, I can tell that this capacitor is bad because it looks like fluffy, like it's ready to explode. So when that happens, that's just a sign that this capacitor is bad. So let me scratch the terminals just to see if we can get it to give us some reading. As you could see, it has a lot of rust. So if it has rust, your leads, your connections are not gonna make good contact. So now that I scratched them, I have, let's see, how much do I have? I have 463 on the 5. And now let's do Let's do the compressor side, that is 20. But remember, this unit calls for a 35, so even if the 20 is good, it's still bad because it's way too small for this unit. So I'm gonna scratch more to make so it makes better contact. So now let's see, it has 1731. I don't know what's the 5%, but 20 is already shy, it's already small. So we are gonna replace it anyways. We're gonna discard this one. So now we're gonna replace the bad capacitor, but first we're gonna fix this. We're gonna install a new connector. So I have one here. I'm gonna insert it. Really good, and then it should be fine. What? This one too? Have two broken ones. And then one more time. You don't see it here, but it says Herm, Common, and Fan. So the one in the fan, remember, is gonna be the brown one for the fan, the brown one. And then the yellow lead is gonna be Herm for compressor. And this feels kind of loose. So might as well, I'm gonna replace it as well because I'm so cool. No, because I have it here already, so might as well. This wire is thicker, so I might use the next size up. There you go. That's pretty good. So again, yellow goes to Herm for hermetic compressor, and then remember the blue or whatever color is this was on common, and then the orange that comes from the contactor. So now the power is back on and our compressor and our fan are running fine. So now we're gonna take measurements of the pressures that we have, and today we're gonna use the Testo Smart Probes. So I have a tiny leak, if you see there, right at the top, it's bubbling. So I'm gonna tighten the valve core. When I get it tighter, you know, it's a very, very small leak that through 20 years it only lost 1 ounce, so it's not that bad. And this unit is ready to go in a few months, so we're gonna call it good. So we're gonna put a blue clamp on the suction side and the red clamp on the liquid line, and then our red pressure gauge on the liquid line, we're gonna open. We have our hose. We have a short of valve here, so we're gonna open up the tank, and we're gonna bleed it here, just a little bit, so we remove the air of that hose.
I'm gonna put a T here, and I already put my hose because it's hard to put my fingers in there, so hopefully I can get it in. So that's my T, that's my hose. Just make sure it's tight, and I'm gonna do my pressure gauge, which is my blue. There's no room to work with this. The new Testo have a 45-degree connector, so you don't have this problem. So one more time, these are my pressures, my temperatures. I'm gonna put manually my wet bulb and my dry bulb, outside dry bulb. So I go here on this corner and I'm gonna do it by hand. 86 for my dry bulb and 64 for my wet bulb. Okay, we're gonna go back, and then my current superheat right now is 25, but we need 11.3 superheat. So we're gonna when you have more superheat, you have to add refrigerant. So I have my hose set up and bleeded and everything, and I have my tank here. So I'm gonna add just small burst. I open it and then I close, and then let it run, because it doesn't take that much to get my superheat lower. So I added a little bit, and then from 25 it's coming down. I open it and close it. As you could see, it takes time, so you have to take it easy, you know. Wait 5 minutes before. I know it's a long time, but you might be adding up and you think it's not doing anything, and then when you are done pump, you have so much. So as you could see, it keeps going down, and I just put a tiny bit. Look at that, it's okay. So it's 11.5, 11.3 right on the dot. I'm gonna call it good because it's perfect. So if your superheat it's too high, then you have to add refrigerant. If it's too low, you have to recover. So that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good weekend. It's Thursday here in Chicago right now. Tomorrow is Friday. I still work. I work Saturday, so good for you that you have days off on the weekends. Have a great day. Take it easy.